Of the concepts I've covered so far, the feel of a suburban Halloween, the representation of the autumn season, parody of horror culture, this takes all of those, and cranks the dial to its breaking point. Now we're in the territory of specials I refuse to let Halloween end without watching. No distractions, just full attention into enjoying. I remember watching this the first time it aired on Cartoon Network. Cartoon Fridays were still a thing. Man, what a great time to be alive.
Come on! I got something that's gonna make this the coolest Halloween ever!
An ambitious Eldritch Batboy can only hope to make Halloween nearly as cool as this one almost 13 years later. This intro is so eye-catching. One thing Danny Antonucci is known for is being able to create some really disgusting visuals, but they really work here. It's trying to set a twisted, creepy, weird mood for this Halloween, and I feel like it's succeeding to do so at breakneck pace. Another thing to note is how many visual jokes and references you're only able to notice if you're really paying attention, or you pause it, which is possible now. Why isn't the series on DVD and Blu-ray yet? Seriously, Cartoon Network, do you care about your older programming? Because a lot of people do. So Ed's been binging on horror flicks already, a typical Halloween tradition for most. He's gotten quite the jump start on the others.
Good lord! Look at all these videotapes!
Ah, VHS, the staple format of a time past. God, I feel old.
It's Halloween, guys! The night when ghosts and goblins come out to play!
Eddie unveils his gambit, a map made by his big brother to a neighborhood called Spookyville, a sacred religious grounds only accessible on Halloween night to those devotees that have gained the blessing and favor of the spirit of Halloween, a wonderland of ceaseless Halloween for those committed enough. Huh? Wrong thing? Oh, right. Spookyville, as apparently described by Eddie's brother, is a neighborhood where the people hand out the most candy, so the Eds gear up to head out to their potentially most profitable candy gathering venture ever. Eddie as an undead Elvis, Ed's a Viking,
I am Lothar!
and Double D as being adorable.
The bubonic plague! I'm the bubonic plague!
Now here's a good chance to talk about our central conflict. There's nothing supernatural going on here. There's no pirate skeleton ghosts that know where they are. There's just a kid and his overactive imagination on Halloween night after binging a bit too much. This is probably the most relatable thing because I can guarantee that if I said, raise your hand if you've been scared by nothing after watching or listening to something spooky, that everything around you, no matter where you are, becomes at least 100 times scarier. Even if you know nothing's there, not a single hand would be down. Not only that, but I love how the special differentiates between what's really happening and what Ed's hyperactive mind creates. The stuttering frames, the film grain, you can see the strip quite often. It looks like a degrading VHS, and I just love that so much. Ed's mind manages to take the most non-threatening, benign things and turn them into unspeakable horrors that are only really managed because Danny Antonucci's ability to create such nightmares. Have you seen The Brothers Grunt? Wait, in fact, no, don't see The Brothers Grunt. I'm not even going to subjugate you to that by editing into the video. Just, no. We get our first view of Ed's nightmare world when he finds the Canker sisters roasting marshmallows, and his brain interprets it as a trio of witches casting a hex on the three Eds, to give them a night of monsters pursuing them.
Make them scream!
Make them sweat!
If that's a Halloween, they'll never forget!
I love this frame. I've noticed this before, it's like subliminal horror. Showing a frame of something scary too fast for you to process it the first time, nor give you the time to think about it, makes scenes come off as creepier than they would have without it.
What?
Oh, yeah, see, someone was gonna do it if not me, so yeah. Ed runs to gather and inform the other two about what he believes to be a witch's curse, and Eddie, being Eddie, only eggs him on, telling him that he'll need to fight off the monsters as they come. You know, for the lulz. This presents itself as ill-advised, as Jimmy is the first quote-unquote monster to be noticed by Ed, seeing him as one hell of a creepy alien creature.
Ed? Ooh, you're a Viking!
Reagan! Earth is not your salad bar!
So Ed heavily dents a stop sign on Jimmy's head and presents Eddie's first clue to Spookyville. Sarah quickly finds Jimmy and does as Sarah does, scream and attack. At first I was confused as to why her, fairy princess outfit was interpreted as a vampiress. But if Ed's mind can see the cankers with no Halloween costumes as witches, I'm not going to complain.
A snake will defeat you!
So he buries Sarah and moves on. Eddie's all too happy to continue egging on Ed's feverish, quote-unquote, monster slaying, but Double D is less than thrilled. He ends up intercepted by Naz.
Oh, kudos on your Medusa costume. A Greek mythological reference is a welcome change from the usual horror cliches.
Bro, carryout. Greek monsters are where it's at. And he ends up carted off by her, which of course is bad news for everyone involved with Ed's mind as warped as it is.
Release him!
You know, it'd be easy to say none of them really deserves Ed's attacks, but as presented so humorously, I'd say it's alright. This show's always been very slapstick. It'd be hard to look at old cartoons with a mindset of, does this character really deserve what they're getting? So I just enjoy how over the top the whole thing is. Sure, Naz doesn't deserve a concrete ensemble, but it sure is funny.
You guys are totally in for it. That was so uncool.
They end up in what appears to be a derelict vehicle as Ed continues his search for monsters. Double D's continuously worried about Ed and the consequences of letting him continue as he is. Eddie, as usual, is only concerned with his potential profit. Luckily for him, the next clue to Spookyville is an abandoned hearse.
That's it! You found a clue!
Just as the map indicated.
And then there's Kevin. Oh boy, what a piece of work do we have here. Kevin, I feel no sympathy for in this special. What Kevin gets is completely justified. Though I must say, his design is probably the most terrifying of all of Ed's hallucinations, which start to become much more frequent at this point. Johnny being a giant spider, Rolf being a hideous troll with a demon pig, and Plank.
It is he! Franken Plague!
I would have gone with Plankenstein, but oh well. I think the Franken Plague hallucination is probably the most off the wall so far compared to what's actually happening.
Now, be a good laugh and go to Johnny.
Double D understands not to trifle with forces beyond his comprehension. After following the path, they find themselves in a neighborhood, seemingly having found the legendary Spookyville, but quickly come to find the truth.
Oh, for heaven's sakes, Eddie, this is your house!
What? I win the lottery or something? This is my house! Is my brother a jerk or what?
So it turns out the whole Spookyville thing was all one big prank, leading them back to the cul-de-sac with nothing to show for it but a bunch of angry kids lusting for revenge.
Who's carving up to fix my bike?
Fix it yourself, you little git. You called that on yourself when you were being a jackass. Yet another degenerate the spirit of Halloween casts her vengeful gaze upon. Ed hides them in a hole, and Eddie and Double D end up pummeled. Personally, the only thing about this ending I don't like is that Double D got punished for nothing. I mean, unless you believe that if you do nothing to de-escalate a bad situation, you're as guilty as those egging it on, but I don't know if that works here. Eddie certainly deserves it because he made Ed's feverish, overstimulated mindset worse by convincing him that he needed to fight the monsters. He's mostly responsible. Ed, however, was under the impression that he was fighting monsters to protect his friends, so I don't think he deserves to be punished for that, even if it doesn't make sense that the kids wouldn't pummel him as well. Yes, this special could have ended better. I'm just saying the ending doesn't detract from how good I personally find it already. It's funny, has that good Halloween-y vibe to it, really shows off some interesting and weird visuals, and, of course, it's incredibly nostalgic for me.